I think that was the best character I played yet, though. I played a rogue. The Tabaxi rogue. He was rich.
But you see, that might be the greatest story I've heard in a while.
That's a rich Tabaxi rogue?
Yes. But have you heard the tale of Julius and what he's gone through to get to this point?
You might want to move closer to the mic so they can hear you. You might want to...
I'll do this. Have you heard the tale of Julius and his obscene journey to get here?
I have not.
So we already went over the, I think that was before the podcast. What he's in, what situation he's in currently. The whole people think he and the cleric are in a big old relationship. That's a whole situation in and of itself that's going to get resolved hopefully next session. I don't know, we're supposed to be fighting gargoyles and we haven't fought a gargoyle in the last 3 sessions. I think our GM's getting angry with us. It's not my fault. Soap opera's just more interesting than fighting gargoyles I don't think we can beat. No, here's the thing. If we had the warrior, I'd be easily, we can beat them 100%. But our cleric has the second least HP in the party. I have the least, obviously. Because no matter what you do, going from a D8 to a D6 HP roll, it's a little rough. Tiny bit rough. So, you have all that. And then... Originally, dude was literally born in a library.
Oh, really?
Lives in a library for 20 years. Where a book gets thrown and the scholars are like, dude, you're the only wizard amongst us. We can't go out and do this. You have to. He's like, okay. I guess. So, he leaves, he crosses 2 countries. Because the first 2 countries he goes into, not where he needs to be. 3rd country, he's out of money and out of luck, so he comes upon an illusory script that says, hey, those with less than 50 gold, come see Eustace. Oh, Eustace. So Eustace is a 12-foot tall tiefling halfling that had a lot of potions and magic done to him. He's a wreck of massive proportions. He's also a 10th level warlock. And he's our hirer. He's our boss. So he first hires us to take a hot air balloon, the hippest new invention, that he uses to flip off the, effectively, what do you call them? Where all the government officials are at. And
Parliament? Wait.
More like a Senate.
Alright. House of Representatives? Congress?
It's one big group. Think Roman.
Legislative branch. Wait.
Think like the... What's it called?
The lawmaking committee.
Basically, yeah.
Alright.
They don't like him. He doesn't like them. That's a mutual dislike. No, we didn't. So he hires us to do that. We do that. We literally walk back because we really have nothing better to do. What are we going to do? Take the air balloon back? We don't know how it goes. My character studied it for the day and a half. And he still doesn't get it. He's not very good at technology. He's a lot better at magic. So, he does all that. We get back. I'm like, alright, so warlocks means an extreme knowledge. And I want to become a warlock. So my character at literally midnight goes, I'm going to go ask Eustace how warlocking works. So goes to this dude's house at midnight.
Sir, how do I warlock?
Wakes up and legitimately asks, okay, how do you become a warlock? It's like, oh, it's a long and arduous process. So then we continue talking, then our cleric comes in, then Heather, the story behind Heather is a whole nother story, but just know we have a firebulb child traveling with us. So we have that, and then then our cleric comes in. Our cleric's like, okay, why are you talking about being a warlock? That's heresy. And my character's like, it's knowledge, it's not heresy, you heretic. And as you can guess, calling your cleric a heretic won't typically go well. I got turned into a rabbit, and for once my wisdom score had a base of not negative. So I got wiser when I was polymorphed into a rabbit. I got stupider, but you can bet I got wiser. So we do that. He pops back out a warlock. No one's quite sure why, no one's quite sure how. But he pops back out a warlock, also known as the session ended when I got polymorphed. And when I got back in, I had multi-classed properly into a warlock. Which even Eustace was like, now wait a minute. Looky here. It's supposed to take forever. Now, the justification, like, out of character is effectively, he's literally been devoted to this god for his entire existence. Where most warlocks might have to actually get the attention, he's been following and, devoutly worshipping this god for 20 years, so the god already noticed him. The noticing part, already done. So, then that's when I became the true heretic. So I missed the next session because I had to get some college work done. Selena goes, our sorceress goes and buys a house effectively, is what I've heard, or at least attempted to buy a house. It apparently fails because next session I come back, she don't have a house. So I come back. Oh, I haven't told you about the greatest part that I was about to forget to tell you about.
Oh.
So,
What was it?
After the whole hot air balloon, we got paid 60 gold apiece. And, we walk up and basically go, alright, what are we going to do with it? We all go to a bar. And here's the thing, our cleric and our wizard, both of us have approximately 2 minutes of actual real world experience between the two of us. She had been, sheltered by her religion. I had been a librarian. I didn't leave that desk. I literally had people bring me drinks. So we had those two extremes, and she takes a drink, gets just slizzard immediately. She's just drunk.
Not slizzard.
No, she can barely walk. She stumbles out of the bar. She's like, oh, where's that heretic? I'm gonna go beat him up. I'm of course, like I always am, in the library. She walks in, sprays me with poison, and stumbles back out. So our source...
Wait, like an actual acid attack? Oh yes. My gosh.
But she pretty much missed and only hit my legs. Still did 8 damage, but I got 10 HP, don't worry about it. So that all happens. She stumbles out. Our sorcerer reaped what they owed because they had used Turn the Tides of Chaos earlier, which means next time they use a spell that is higher than cantrip, they have to roll the wild magic dice. They had turned the Tides of Chaos earlier and was going to cast Sleep on our cleric because we're all level 2 at this point. So none of us really have high HP. Especially not with our party selection of classes. So, manages to put her to sleep. So her wild magic makes her afraid of the cleric. So, here's the sorcerer. Here's the cleric, and here's me.
He's got his hands in a formation for the people at home that can't see this.
Yes, I do. See, the cleric the cleric's passed out on the floor. Sorceress runs behind me, looking scared to death. And I'm just like, what? She acid attacks me, and you're the one afraid? Very unimpressed. So a giant tabaxi that we don't know the real name of, but we do know what our cleric called him. He is the Big Cat Daddy. There is a legitimate story behind that name that's really heartwarming and touching. But all you gotta know is he named his Big Cat Daddy. He's like this 7-foot tall tabaxi, like, ranger. He's quite intimidating, in all honesty. So we basically 5 nights. What is it? 5 nights at Bernie's? Or is it 5 weekends at Bernie's? You know, where they kind of prop up the body and just make it look like it's walking. We basically do that. Get her into the basement of the bar so they can sleep it off. My kid is like, I'm done with this. I need a drink. Pays 3, drinks, nat 1's the con save. Boom. Wakes up the next morning, random dude's house. He's like, this is not okay. Wakes up, finds a shower. He's like, but I haven't had a shower in a while. I'm gonna shower, and then I'm gonna deal with the fact that I'm in a stranger's house. So we do that. I got a nat 20 on like my shower bonuses check effectively. So I had advantage on all charisma rolls, which is really important for the fact that after this, every single action I did to impress Kalila or Claire, whose character name is Kalila, would have failed if I didn't have advantage. Every single roll, I had advantage. And every single roll, I got like 1 or 2 above their will save. And I effectively seduced our cleric. And thematically proposed to her. Without meaning any of it. And that, my friends, is why you need wisdom to balance out your intelligence.
I'm sorry to briefly or to so abruptly.
But has he gotten back to us?
Yes. Jay got back to us with the link to that Reddit post.
Oh boy.
Hold on. Let me give him the reply. Yeah. Let me see here. I think this one just kind of summarizes mostly that Tomb of Horrors encounter.
Send me the link a doodle.
Send you the link. All right.
Mr. Always Invisible.
That's my power. That is another great topic. Just a real quick segue away from D&D. If you had to give each of our insane friends a power based on their personalities and or what they regularly do, what would you give them? I know a lot of people would tell me, or at least Jared would say, the power to fade away. I'd love that power. Just fade away at any moment. Goodbye. I'll probably leave the Reddit post in the description.
I am currently reading the Reddit post.
Yeah. Oh, for like the audience at home who wants to read this.
Of course.
Yeah, this is specifically about that up to the... Oh, we got to level 8. Okay. Yeah, he remembers this a whole lot better than I did.
That entire story is... Ooh.
Yeah.
It's even worse than you made it sound.
Yeah. It's bad. It was bad. One thing I forgot to mention specifically. He also did go after Jay's character a bit, in case you couldn't tell.
Well, according to he himself, sounds like he really went after his character. Yeah. Once he got in the Tomb of Horrors.
Yeah, so like, did he write it in there? Cause like,
yeah.
No, this thing specifically, in the Tomb of Horrors, we came across like this house, and we went in. Now, outside the house is like a field of like, it kind of like slows down time. You have to make a save in order to progress normally. Otherwise, it's gonna take forever to get to the house. Inside the house is normal, but like everywhere outside is kind of messed up. So one thing that Jay's character did is he wanted to see what was outside the house. I guess there was something dangling outside, like the door entrance. So he like kind of stuck his hand out there. Right. As he did so, the DM described that his hand like as he pushed it through, it just disappeared, and then he took it back out. His whole arm was gone. So essentially, the doorway kind of cut his hand off. But a few minutes later, he has like this raven thing because he's a warlock.
Right,
Like,
Raven, Queen Familiar, I'm aware of it.
yeah. So he sends that out to go survey. It goes out, comes back no problem. Anyone else steps out, we're all fine. I mean, we get the time slow, of course, because it's the field. But only specifically him, when he stuck his hand out, his arm is gone. And of course, he's bleeding everywhere. We gotta save him.
I mean, one could argue that there was a trap, but he
It
had
only
no
worked on
saving
him.
roll, it sounds like.
No, none.
Just like his arm just went, nope, I'm done. That's over.
No arm. No. Yeah, I was kind of. In fact, I think even this downplays it a lot. It might be one of those things where you just have to experience it, but it was bad. And that's only one game. That was our first game together as a group. We're already off to a good start. We had 3 other games afterwards. Let's see. So there was that game, the Evil campaign, which that actually went pretty well, but it ended so short because apparently some people weren't a fan of the Evil campaign.
I mean, not everyone can do evil campaigns,
Yeah.
and that's fair.
But it's so weird because it seemed like everyone else was having a moderately fun time. Oh well, I'm not gonna judge anybody. That the only campaign that went smoothly ends pretty fast. Eventually, Olaf takes over as GM for a little bit. One thing I will say, all the games with Olaf go great. Well, I should probably get into that too. The only problem is when Bolgerval is playing as a PC. So Bolgerval as a PC is almost as bad as him as a GM. He makes really obnoxious characters. I can kind of get it. It's roleplay things, but at the same time, it's just really annoying to deal with. Now, I'm not going to go into too specific example, but it's bad. Otherwise, though, the Olaf games go great. But eventually, Bolgerval's like, I want to GM again. So he's like, I'm going to GM now, starting next week. Because we played every week.
Yeah, weekly sessions. It's a normal schedule.
Let's see. After the Evil campaign, I believe... I forgot what happened after the Evil campaign. Oh no, we only played 2 other games after that, because I put a stop to that the one afterwards real quick. For story purposes, he tried to make us play a campaign where it was essentially super low magic. The only type of magic allowed was druidic and monk, kind of. So no arcane tricksters, no wizards, nothing like that. It was set in a zombie apocalypse. A lot of abilities were banned, just in-class abilities.
Sure.
Maybe it would have went well, but I was not a fan of it, and I raised a complaint. There was a brief argument and a moment of contention. In fact, for a little bit, he was looking for other players to play the game, but eventually we resolved it and we started a new game. That ended up being our last game together. That one went off pretty well, I think. The premise was that we were colonizing a new land. There was a lot of resource management involved, but it was actually pretty fun. It was a bit like Civilization, but from a first-person perspective. It was kind of cool.
I get it.
But eventually he introduced these god artifacts, the MacGuffins I was telling you about. So I got my rock. I believe someone else got an axe. I forget what all the other items did, but they were pretty powerful. Eventually, one of the player's characters got turned into another character against his will. Well, not exactly against his will. It was written in his backstory, but sooner than he would have liked.
I get it.
Yeah, he eventually essentially became like a whole different character, and that character became broken. Like he was a chronomancer. It was homebrew, of course. And like I remember like the last encounter we had, we were fighting this dragon. Our chronomancer had this wicked ability where he could give the entire party extra turns. On top of that, I multi-classed into sorcerer, and I was able to twin spell haste on people.
No god.
So I was on top those stack. So we also had a druid in the group, not the same Xena person, but Olaf was playing a druid.
Sure.
He got this ability where he essentially got, oh my god. You know how when you wild shape, you get the stats of that creature?
Yeah.
The way his item let him take the stats of that creature and his own stats on top of that.
Immediately hilariously broken.
It's just, so we were given the druid. Like he could already turn to creatures with like multi attacks. So we were given the druid like 6 attacks a turn, and then like 5 extra turns on top of that. He took out half the boss's health in like before anyone else got a turn. Yeah, we had to. Our enemy had to pull a fast retreat on that one, and then eventually our falling out happened, and we never met afterwards. Balance was not Bolgerval's strong suit at all.
Sounds
like from what I remember, our Chronomancer actually showed Bolgerval a balanced version of that Chronomancer class, and Bolgerval was like, "No, you just use that one." Like, are you sure? Because I mean, this one's a little bit. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, use that one. That one. Oof. I might have to compile a Reddit post somewhat similar to Jay's to get a better for you guys to get a better understanding of all the things that happened. Considering all the things that happened, I'm actually surprised I'm still playing D&D. Like I said, that first game, the one described in this Reddit post, was my first D&D game.
Ooh.
Yeah. It was my first game ever of D&D. I think it's mostly the people I met along the way. It's probably the reason I still play.
Man, my first D&D group, my entire character arc was being jealous of our monk for having a higher strength stat. Like, in character, my character was like, "You're stronger than me and you're a girl. That's not how this works."
Oh, you were Kid Boo?
I am the manly man. I did not get strong enough to outstrength them, but I did break my leg and continue walking because my character just don't care.
Or like Super Boo or Vegeta?
I ain't that strong.
Yeah. Well, but like, I'm pretty sure Super Boo's thing was like, he wanted to be the strongest. No one could be stronger. So when he found out Gotenks was a thing, he was super upset.
In fairness, you didn't care if you were stronger as long as you were a big muscly dude.
Ah, okay. Oh, he was misogynist.
Yes,
okay.
Very much so.
Okay.
I mean, it was a part of his character. He was from, backwards rural town in the middle of the country where he was effectively a medieval.
Build this wall.
He manned that wall. He was a town guard before his entire town got murdered.
Mm.
Admittedly, he probably could have helped them, but he ran away.
Oh.
This is the same man who jumped down an 80-foot hole because he couldn't see down and he figured what's the worst that could happen.
Mm.
And all things considered, his whole jumping experience went well. Despite being in, full plate armor, he managed not to die when he hit the ground.
Oh.
Always impressive.
Was it like Featherfall or something? Or just resilient?
No, he's a tough son of a gun. He had the highest constitution in the party, which I've noticed lately, like in my experience, it's not hard to have a higher constitution than most people, because a lot of people, I think, use constitution as a dump stat.
It's not the best thing to do.
Oh, it's never the best thing to do, but that don't stop people.
I try to average.
I always either have a way above average or average constitution. Like, I have a 10 on my wizard. I could have made constitution my dump stat, but I was like, you know what, I want to be able to exist. And not die from a small stomach ache. You might think I'm memeing, but I'm fully serious. Unless
Make a stomach ache check.
No, like I rolled it with a +0 on that alcohol. I don't want to think what would have happened if I had to roll a -1. Cause consistently, right?
Mm.
If the dice I have to roll have a negative modifier on them, I immediately roll low. Like, perpetually I roll low. I.e. the legendary, 7 5s in one session. All on my wisdom checks.
We might have our first audience member.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Jay wants to know when this podcast goes live. Considering our current backlog, may not be for a while.
Oh?
Yeah, I've got considering we don't even have episode 0 up of the podcast, and I've also got a podcast with Cody to air, and then we also have the gaming to air. I don't think we're gonna air episodes.
Just post it all right away.
Have no content for another 2 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah, alright.
See, just give me a week and I can come back with more D&D stories.
Alright. Well, I'm actually kind of ready to see you play some Chrono Trigger.
No, that's gonna go terribly.
I don't think it'd be that bad.
You say that, but you're wrong.
Oh, already? You haven't even seen it.
I am remarkably bad at any game that's not a sports game.
Oh, really? Why sports?
Because I play a lot of them. Look, man, I played football once.
Once.
I was on a team.
Back in the summer of 1997.
Back in the summer of 2010. I was the biggest kid.
Back in the summer of 1972.
Back in the summer of 1972.
I
was the captain of the football team. Don't you know?
Alright. I guess we'll wrap this up for right now. From what it sounds like, we're going to have a lot more content coming your way. That being said, the heroes of 40XX in the year 50XX. I have been Man Manson. Want to close out yourself? Or?
No.
Alright, that has been the amazing Alec, Grand Wizard Alec. And we'll see you guys next time.